Welcome, welcome everybody back to this week's episode of Java with Jen. But now it's Java with Jen and Elizabeth because I've got a special guest here for this topic that I'm calling Shut the Fuck Up, I'm Talking. Or
Exactly.
shut the F up, I'm talking. How many of us have ever been faced with being in a meeting as a woman in a male dominated industry? We're in a meeting, we're talking, and people interrupt us, they talk over us, or all of a sudden, somebody else comes up with the idea we had just shared. Well, this week's Empower Hour on Friday, and I'll leave information in the comments below, is all about trusting your voice. And I wanted to bring in my dear friend and expert, Elizabeth Bachman, who her moniker is Pissed Off, Passed Over, and Pissed Off. She helps women elevate their voice, elevate their position to get the careers that they want and really feel like their voice is heard and valued and make sure their ideas are heard and understand how to alter how they're speaking, the way they're approaching something so they feel valued. Her business is called Strategic Speaking for Results. And I'm very happy this morning and very caffeinated to welcome Elizabeth Bachman. Elizabeth, thanks for being here today with me.
Thank you, Jen. I'm so excited to be on this. I have sat in on your Empower Hours in the past, and they're always awesome. So it's wonderful. And we as women are really used to being interrupted, to have people speak over us. And there are actually techniques you can use and strategies you can use to be heard, especially when you're saying, well, there's a problem with this and nobody wants to hear it. And so they speak over you. A lot of what I do is to help women speak up without being obnoxious. And I think of it as shift the way you're perceived by shift the way you communicate.
And we're going to be digging into a lot of those techniques. Well, some of the techniques, because the Empower Hour this Friday at noon Eastern is only an hour. So we're really going to be able to dig into a couple of those techniques. But I want to um, pick up on something you said. Why is it that we get interrupted? Why? This happens to me all the time, even with friends, or they'll ask me a question. They don't wait for me to answer. They fill in the blank. And finally, I say, do you want me to answer the question or do you want me to keep guessing? And I've honestly always chalked it up to, well, I've been a coach for almost 30 years. I'm used to listening. And so maybe that's why. But I'll shed some light on this situation, my
Well,
friend.
uh, sometimes it's you come from a culture or a family where everybody talks at once and interrupting is the norm. And sometimes it's because people are so busy thinking about what they want to say that they forget they've asked a question. Uh, some of it is just different habits, basically. Asking a question and do you really want the answer? Most of the time, if you say, "Oh, wait a minute, do you want me to answer?" They'll say, "Oh, sorry," but often it's a habit, which is fine when you're sitting around with friends in the bar or
Right.
with coffee. But in the workplace, in a meeting, you need some strategies to actually get your ideas out, because otherwise the louder speakers are going to roll all over you. And, they do have,
Yeah.
yeah.
One thing I heard you say that I think is important is when we are interrupted or when we feel like our voice isn't heard or when we feel like someone has stolen our idea, none of that is personal to us.
No, no.
It's always about how the other person, as you said, has been raised, the family they grew up in. And half the time, most people aren't, I mean, more than half the time, honestly, people aren't listening anyway. And
Yeah.
so, or as you said, thinking about what they're going to say next. So I think that's key. It's not personal to me. It happens all the time.
I think when you have relational thinkers, as so many women are, it's it's a challenge to separate your ideas from your personhood.
Mm,
And it's easy to assume that if somebody's interrupting or not listening, it's about you personal. I think about the movie You've Got Mail, where Tom Hanks says, it's not personal, it's just business. And for Meg Ryan, it was incredibly personal. but he had a point too.
What was the situation where he said that?
His company put her company out of business.
Oh, the bookstore.
The
That's right.
bookstore. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And he said it's not personal, but it was very personal to her. And
Yeah.
so what I hear in what you're saying is when we want to share an idea, it's our idea. So it is very personal to us.
Hmm. Yeah. It feels like our personal idea. And also, many people are raised with the attitude of the best way to have an idea come through is to challenge it. So I've had people say to me, I wasn't putting you down. I was offering you the chance to fight back so that you could refine your thinking by fighting with me. And meanwhile, I was over in the corner going, why is he yelling at me? Why is he yelling at me? And that was a real, that particular person was trying to be helpful.
Interesting. What I mean, that just blew my mind because why would you think yelling at me would be helpful, right?
It's
Like,
the devil's advocate. A wonderful coach I know called Kimmy Avery calls it devil's advocate versus angel's advocate.
mm,
Depends on how you were trained, how you were taught to speak.
yeah. Well, I think also a lot of women, I mean, men too, but a lot of women that I know, myself included, were trained to be people pleasers and to get along.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so not always, oh, and there's a cat. I love it. Who is
Yes, yes.
this?
I figured this is Benji, and this
Hello,
is my
Benji.
sister's cat, and he's actually decided to come visit me now. And I'm wearing my good sweater. So he came to me because he can put orange hair all over my good blue sweater.
Your good blue water before you get on a plane and go back home to
Yes.
Germany. Germany, right?
Austria.
Austria. I was thinking Austria and I said Germany.
Well, I'm going to land in Munich, but then I'm going to drive to Austria.
There
So,
you go. Okay, so here's what's up, folks. If you want people to start listening to you, Elizabeth and I are going to be breaking it down for you this Friday. We're going to be looking at who you're being that your experience is not being listened to and how to be authentic to who you truly are. How do you be yourself even when you feel like you're not being heard, even when you feel like somebody else stole your idea. So we're going to start with, as I always do, who you're being. And then Elizabeth's going to be jumping in and providing tools, tips, and techniques. And you'll be practicing those in real time with the other amazing women on the call. Those tools, tips. Why can't I say it? Tools,
tools,
tips,
tips, and
and
tricks.
techniques. Thank you.
Yeah. Technique.
TTT.
Yeah.
We're going to be TTTing you in the Empower Hour. We'll have a couple of different opportunities, 3 different opportunities to do breakout rooms where you can share and mastermind with the other women there. Our goal by the end of the call is that you are grounded in who you are and you have the tools and are empowered to use them the next time that you walk into a meeting or the next time that you're interrupted or the next time that you feel like somebody stole your idea. Elizabeth has all the answers. I have some of them. She has all of them. That is why I brought her on because she knows more than I do. But together, we're going to be a power duo and we're going to kick some butt this Friday. So please join us on Friday to get these wonderful lessons. And by the way, Elizabeth, I'm going to make sure that after we finish this live, if people are interested and want to know more about what you have to offer, you could put a link in the comment section so they can get in touch with you in case they can't make the Empower Hour Friday at noon. Sound good?
Absolutely. You bet.
Awesome. All right, everybody, that's it from Elizabeth and I for your morning Java with Jen. Shut the hell up, I'm talking. Brought to you
Exactly.
this Wednesday, and hopefully we'll see you Friday in the Empower Hour. All right, y'all.